folks, welcome back. This is Joel and we'll continue with our discussion on Firepower. In this video we'll talk about the quality of service, QoS, right? We'll talk about that and how we can configure that in a firewall environment, right? For folks who are basically coming to this video directly, just a quick recap. What we have done is we've got like two Firepower FTDs here, right? They are configured in HA environment, right? Both of them. High availability, basically we have configured failover between these two guys. We have FMC, which is basically managing these two, and we also have a FTD at the branch, right? So we have kind of segregated our topology to be like a campus network. The yellow part is the campus network and the red part over here is the branch, right? And you've got the router here, which is kind of like the ISP, right, which is connecting to the Ethernet and so on. Cool. So that being said, what we have done is we have done some initial device settings, we have done device management and HA till now. In this one, we'll be doing the QoS part, right? So let's switch to our FMC. That's our FMC. Where do we go from here? So let's go to QoS. So you see there is a separate tab here for QoS. We'll click on that. And right now you see we don't have any policy, so let's go ahead and create a new policy. Let's say add new policy. We'll call this as FTD-QoS probably, right? And we'll have to select the devices over here, right? So give me a second. Yeah, cool. So where were we? Yeah, we have to configure the QoS policy. So here you might if you're not running HA, then in that case both your FTDs would appear here, right, individually. In our case, you know, because we are running HA, you basically get it something like this. So you're gonna add that to the policy. You have to save that, right? The policy should appear here now. Give it a second. Yeah, so the policy is appearing, but just having the policy is not sufficient, right? We need to next do which is nothing but adding a rule, right? So this is where you add the rule. So what we'll do is let's go back to the topology. What we want to do is we want to put a QoS so that people who are on my jump host is basically the inside interface of my firewall, right? So this is general, or literally this is nothing but the inside interface of the firewall. So people, when they are accessing the internet from the jump host, I want to rate limit, right? That's what I want to do. So I want to put a QoS on the firewall so that, you know, let's say I don't want people to watch Netflix or something, right? I mean, I do want them to watch, but I want to rate limit, right? That's what I want to do. I mean, QoS is a very, very broad concept, right? So there are much you can do with QoS here, but we will mainly concentrate specifically on rate limiting, right? So we'll do web probably access limits, right? I think that that could be the name for the rule, right? We have to enable it. And interfaces in source okay, so where do you want to apply this QoS for? So I'll basically go and say apply this QoS for the destination objects, right? Destination interface objects. So what I mean by that is that's where I'll basically go and select this outside interface, because I really want to apply my QoS on the outside interface when the traffic is, you know, flying off that outside interface of the firewall, right? So you can, based on your use case, you can apply it on DMZ, inside, wherever you want, right? In my case, I'm saying apply it on the destination interface objects, and on the destination side, I'm selecting the you know, interface object, which is the outside interface. Sweet. Now, next, what do we do next? So the next is we will go to the second part, which is the networks, right? So here I basically want to mention my network. Which network do I want to apply this on? So I want to apply to this one, right? 192.168.133.0/26. So we want to apply it there. Now I'm pretty sure it won't be here, so I'll have to either create a new let's go and create a new object here. Right, so in the object we can basically, I don't know, we can say it as general, right? General probably network, right? Because the segment is called general, right? Or literally it's nothing but the inside segment, right? And it's a network, right? So we can basically select that, and the network is 192.168.133.0/26. Hope that's right. because if that is not, then the traffic from wrong place will get matched. Anyway, so I think that's good. We are good for now. So we can save that, right? And this time here, let's go and search for this one, the general, right? There you go, right? And we'll add it to the source. So we are basically telling traffic coming from this network we want to rate limit, right? Now, do we want all the traffic to be rate limited? No, we want to again classify based on what traffic. So we want the HTTP and HTTP. So let's select these both guys, right? So the traffic which is destined for HTTP and HTTP, so we'll have to put this in the destination area, right? So that makes sense, right? Either you can use the ports, or you can also go to applications and search here as well, right? Different type of applications. I can rate limit Facebook and all of that, right? So different applications. You see there are a lot of cool applications. That's the good thing about layer 3 to level, or basically a layer 7 firewall, right? You can do all these cool things. Anyway, so instead of doing applications, we are using the ports, but you can do it based on applications as well. All right, so what have we done now? Are we good? Okay, the last part is the rate limit speed. So I'm going to put something like 0.2 Mbps, which is going to be something like, I think 200 kilobits per second, right, in simple terms. So I want my download and upload speed, right, for the internet to be 0.2, right? You can see here the range is also given. You have to put the values between this, right? Cool. So that's done. What do we do next? So I think we are good. So we can go and save. Can we save it somewhere here? I can say okay, I guess. So that's saving. Okay, let's save it again. All right. The other thing is, let's add one more rule. So the other rule, what we want to do here is we want to rate limit between the general segment, right, the general zone or the inside zone, and the DMZ zone. So if there is some kind of a data transfer happening between this host, I'll say I've added a new host this time. I'm calling it as DMZ host 3. So if there is some data transfer happening between the DMZ host 3 and the jump host, I want to rate limit that as well, right? So for that, we'll add one more rule. So what we'll call this is, we'll call this guy as the DMZ FTP limit, right? So DMZ FTP limit. So excuse me, that's good. Similarly, we'll select interface in the destination interface objects, right? And we will select the DMZ as the destination, because traffic heading towards DMZ is what we want to kind of limit here, right? And what else? So we'll put the numbers as well. Let's keep the upload let's keep the download unlimited, right? Let's keep the upload to be reduced to, I don't know, maybe 0. I'll have to think about this. Probably let's keep the same thing. Let's keep 0.2, which will be like 200 kilobits per second, I guess, if I'm not wrong, right? 0.2 is 200 kilobits. Yeah. So let's keep the download unlimited, which means the download towards the DMZ is going to be unlimited, whereas the upload is going to be rate limited. Right? Makes sense. Or we can switch this as well. Let me think. Give me a second. Let me check how my environment is configured. All right. So let me actually switch this one, because I have my FTP server set up on the DMZ side. So it's actually going to be a reverse. So I'm gonna go this guy with, say, 0.2, and let's keep upload towards my DMZ to be unlimited. Right? Uploading towards to be unlimited. I think that should make sense. All right, cool. It doesn't really matter the directions. I mean, since I'm just giving you an example, what you'll basically end up seeing is one side the data transfer, from DMZ towards the inside zone. On one side, one direction it will be slower, and the other direction is going to be faster, right? Because of this. Because on one side we have kept it unlimited, on the other side we have put in a rate limit, right? The directions could be a little confusing, but you probably need a little bit of time to kind of think about it, and it'll make sense. Cool. So that's good. So okay, so that's done. And the ports is important. Again, I can select applications, but actually I'll go with the ports again. I'm going to use FTP, so that's going to be on the destination side, right? So cool. I think that looks good. So what we'll do now is we can like say okay to this one. We can save this guy. Right, this is what we have, right? The two QoS rules, or the two QoS rules inside the FTD QoS policy. One is for the web traffic, other one is for the FTP traffic, right? And I think that looks good. So let's go and deploy this one. Right, so we'll select the HA, right? In your environment, maybe if you have just one FTD, there also it will work. It's just that you will probably not have FTD HA like this, right? You'll probably have your FTD1, FTD2, 2, 3, 4 listed here, in which case you can apply, right? So let's give it a couple of minutes for this guy to kind of deploy. I'll be back once it is deployed. All right, looks like it's completed. So now let's quickly jump on to the CLI, the FX OS, or basically the Firepower CLI. Now, one thing which I've not been able to do with Eve is that I was not able to achieve establishing SSH sessions, right? So maybe if you guys figured it out, do drop that in the comments. But I've not been able to SSH into any of these boxes from using the management IP, right? It kind of refuses to do so. The SSH connections basically refuses. As a result, our only option is to look at the keymove VNC console, which is not very good because you can't really go back up and down, right, with this. So anyway, so let me quickly show you what we can see at least. So it's basically, I think if I do a include for policy, we'll basically see the policy groups, the policy map which got pushed. You can see this policy map, policy DMZ, right? So this is the policy which kind of got pushed just now, right? Now to verify, what we'll do is, so all of this is done. Let's go back here. Let's go back to the devices. And that's good. We should see everything. Give it a second. Yeah, see, everything is green and everything looks good. So the policies, everything is applied. Now what I've done is I just have a link to, basically a Debian link, right, where you can download your Debian images from, because these are like heavy images. You can see here 300, 600, 900 MB images, right? So you can download anything just for verification, right? You can download anything from the internet. The only thing is we want to make sure that the download and upload rate is kind of getting rate limited, right? At least around the value which we expected it to be, right? So let's click on one of this guy, right, so that we start the download, and let's say okay here, right? And on the top you see it is getting rate limited. In fact, it's kind of a little lower than what we set, right? We had set to be, I believe, 0.2, right? So but it's still it's kind of lower than what we said, so that's fine. So you can see here the rate limiting is happening, right? Now again, this might not exactly convince you. Then in that case, you can also, let me cancel that. You can also go and check the CLI. I think there is a command for that. It's something like show service policy, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, service policy interface and outside maybe, right? So is that the command? Yeah, that's the command. So technically, if your packets are getting dropped, right, you will see a lot of packets getting dropped here. Right now it is all 0 because we did not see much getting dropped. Maybe it might be also that the internet connection on this one is already getting rate limited, so as a result it's not even, the policy is not even kicking in, right? Or maybe if we leave this download to happen for a little longer time, maybe we might hit the, let me just try to do that again. I'm not sure if we will either hit that, maybe a different download. Let me try this. Yeah, it seems to me that there you go. So it's trying to download something, but yeah, you can see it's around 200 over there. Let's see now if it's getting rate limited here. Okay, still I don't see any drop packets. That's interesting. Yeah, seems like nothing got dropped here in this case. Probably because, like I said, you know, the policy, you can see the policy is configured. You can see the values here. You can see the 200 kilobytes per second, right? You can see the upload and the download, both of the values reflecting here, but you don't see anything getting dropped as such, because I think my internet is kind of slow on that particular link here, right, in my topology, right, when from the router when it goes to the internet. So I think this link already, you know, is getting at a maximum of only 200 or less than that. So you are not seeing you're not seeing anything in the drop counter. But anyway, we'll try the other one now. So let's say we are on the jump host and we want to test our FTP stuff, right? So like I said, on one direction it's going to be quite faster, whereas on the other direction it's going to be quite slower, because we have done the rate limiting. Sweet. So let's go to our jump host here. So that's okay, this is not my jump host. That's my jump host. So I think I have my servers here, but that's all right. So let's go to this guy. Okay, so yeah, so let's clear this one for a minute. All right, so what I'll do is what do I have in this folder? Okay, so what I have set up is so this is the DMZ host 3, right? So the DMZ host 3 is this one, right, the one on the left side, and I have a FTP server here, and FTP server running in this FTP data folder. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to go ahead, or actually before starting the FTP server, let's get my command ready. So I think I've copy pasted the command here just to save some time. There you go. So this is basically the command which will connect to the FTP server which is running on my DMZ zone, and it will try to download the data from there, right? So yeah, that's what it is going to do. So I'm going to just paste it here, right? So it is just doing FTP, the username, password, and it is connecting to the DMZ zone, right? Actually, before that, let's check if we have connectivity to the DMZ zone. Just don't want to, I want to check that. So let's do that. So let's see, right? Yeah, we have connectivity to DMZ zone, which is good, which means now what I can do is I can just grab this one, right? Sorry, copy it. Let's copy it. All right, so we have grabbed that guy, and what we are going to do is we are going to download some data from the DMZ host, right? And we'll see what is happening with respect to the rate limiting and so on. Sweet. So there you go, disconnecting. Okay, let's try it again. I believe I have not started the server here, hence, right? So there you go. So let me start the FTP server here, and let's go down here. Let's say download. Here I should get a notification. I'm gonna say okay, and there you go. It's downloading, and you see the speed is quite big, right? It's at one point of time I saw, I think, 4 Mbps as well. Or yeah, there you go, right? So pretty good speed, like 4 Mbps. So that's what I was telling, right? One direction, it's going to be faster because we have not rate limited it, right? So now probably let's check the opposite direction. Okay, let me clear this a bit. All right, so in the reverse direction, yeah, so let's do this. So we'll say FTP 192. Do I have the command? So yeah, there you go. So before doing this, we'll have to turn on the FTP server. Right now, I'm not expecting it to actually show as 200 kilobits per second, but it's going to be comparatively lesser than the download speed. I think we saw download speed of 4 Mbps, right? I think it's going to be lesser than that, maybe around, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 Mbps, right? It might show up that, because if you want to do this experiment in a proper way, I would suggest taking a huge big file, right? Not like a very small file like I am doing here. If you take a big ISO file, probably like a 3-4 GB file, then you will get to see actually how the rate limiting happens, right? Otherwise you will basically not see much difference. Anyway, so since it's just a lab or an example, what I'm going to do is, yeah, hit on FTP here, put in the username, which is Cisco I believe, what I've configured. Let's go here, let's approve it, and there you go. So now for uploading, I can put something like, I think I have, yeah, there you go, right? So this is what is getting uploaded onto here, right? I think it's like, again, a very small file, like, I don't know, 30-40 MB file, which is not very ideal, but I think it's going to be quite lesser than what we saw here on the top, which was, you know, around, I think we saw around 4 or 5 Mbps, right? Earlier, yeah, over here we saw 5 Mbps. So here comparatively it's going to be lesser than that. And you can see it's taking already a little bit of more amount of time than earlier, right? So there you go, right? It's comparatively lesser. So this is like, I think close to what, 1.5 Mbps, I guess, right? Yeah, so that's literally how you configure QoS in Firepower, right? Just wanted to give a quick example of how to do it. It's basically what we did in this particular example was we checked out a simple way to configure rate limiting. First is we tried doing from the jump host, basically from the inside interface, so that anyone who tries to talk to the internet, right, their traffic gets rate limited on the outside interface here. Second use case was we tried rate limiting between the zones, or between the security zones, right? In this case the DMZ and the general. We tried rate limiting the FTP traffic, right? And yeah, we saw comparatively the value went down. The download was around 4-5 Mbps, whereas upload was reduced to like 1 Mbps. But yeah, for a better, like I said, for better results, I would say take a big file, right? Take like a 3-4 GB of file and try to download, and you'll see better results, right? So yeah, guys, I think that's mainly what I wanted to show here. So I think at the end of this video, we have done quite a stuff. We have not yet done any access policies as such, which is like the meat of the whole Firepower, but we have done a lot of cool things, right? We brought them up, we did the device management, we configured high availability here, and then today we did the QoS as well. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one. Bye.